Hi everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell, and welcome to a new video. Now today I'm going to bring you to a Russian hypermarket. Yes, the one right behind me is called Lenta, and we're going to go and check it out right now. Now just before we head in on inside, I just thought I'd show you how big it is from the outside. Now a lot of the Lenta hypermarkets are actually standalone businesses, and they're actually kind of off-site from a shopping center. So this is kind of a little bit unique that it's kind of in a shopping center. So it's basically the expanded version of the regular Lenta supermarkets. Now where I live in Moscow region, we have one of these, but it's considerably smaller and it's never really properly looked after and stocked right. It's always a line at the edge just because it's the only supermarket in the whole town, but I think this one's going to be a little bit better managed, I think, just looking at how busy it is and how many people are in the store. So just as I'm about to walk in, the guys brought all the trolleys in from outside. Now, it's actually snowing outside today, so I don't know how he's pulled up. Maybe he got these from the car park underneath, but people do use shopping trolleys in Russia. Please don't get me wrong, they do. You've just got to have 10 rubles, and then you can take one and go. And then as I pointed out in quite a lot of the videos, this is a super popular way to do shopping. You just get the baskets, and then you're only going to buy so much stuff then, just like that. They've got the ones on wheels, which are very nice too, and then just those traditional ones. But this is very, very common in Russia. I know people sort of say, you know, nobody's shopping, nobody's buying a lot of things, but, you know, if you don't come here by car, because you're going to come here by bus, or I come here by train, I'm only going to carry a bag of shopping home with me, you know, so I might limit what I buy. But, so being a hypermarket, this end of the store has all of the non-food good items. And they've got big signage up the top here as well with all the markdowns and specials. It's a kind of a Christmas section, but not really. It's a little bit of everything. There's some coffee here, some juice, champagne, red wine, some chocolates. Now walking around, I'm not going to be able to cover the whole store, or we're going to be here for a very long time in the video, but you'll see here there's a kids section right in the front, which I'm not sure how they kind of figure that out, you know, but kids' toys. I guess maybe the parents bring their kids shopping and the first thing they see is something for them, and the kids are happy and they're, you know, let their mum and dad do the rest of the shopping. Now I really want to make this video about the overview of the whole hypermarket, but there's a kind of a cool alcohol drink here. It's in the shape of a bolt, or a screw and a bolt. It's very interesting. Now, what I was actually originally looking at was Rittersport, and how much Rittersport do they have, but the one I like is 94 rubles on special. Now, if anybody did see my video of OK supermarkets, definitely has the same kind of feeling as OK. It's a big place, you know, it's not as kind of super clean and tidy like Globus is, but everything's here. And there's a little bit of Christmas stuff up on the back wall there. It's mostly stuff for the house though, so things like plates and tea towels, mugs, glasses, and then some kitchenware things here if you need something new for the kitchen. And the men don't miss out. The one next to it is the engine oil, which is kind of handy. So just looking back here, you can see all of the variety items. I guess it's all I'm going to keep saying it, this non-food good aisle. I was hoping there was more Christmas stuff set up. Someone suggested I come here and do a video about the Christmas things, but I've not really seen any walking around yet. They do also have their own in-house bakery here as well. You can see all of these kind of cellophane breads that they do in the store. And actually we might see the guy in the back here making the breads. Check this out. Yes, that kiln is right there on the right hand side, and you can see the breads just over here. So he basically prepares them over here, these big dough balls, and he puts them in the kiln, and then they come out like that a few minutes later. And then right at the front here, these are the ones that he'd made a little bit earlier, but 50 rubles for essentially fresh bread typically within about half an hour of the guy making it. He's going to have them out here on display for you. They also have some nice pastries here as well. So essentially you just get the plastic bag, tongs, then actually you put them in the bag yourself, and then you actually get the sticker and price the bag up yourself as well. You've got to do that before you get to the register at the end. Here's all their pre-made bread that's made off-site. They don't have a very big bakery here, but I imagine depending on the store you go to, it's based on the turnover of people. Oh, here's a few Christmas things, or holiday things, I guess you'd call them. Not too many, but there's a few on display. So filming this video today, I'm actually filming it opposite-handed. For some reason I set my camera up the wrong way, and then I already did the introduction and started walking in. I just realized I'm usually all using my left hand, not my right hand, but this hypermarket is a very, very nice store. Now, a lot of people are going to come in the comments, you know, it's not tidy, it's not organized, there's no shoppers, people have got empty baskets. Keep in mind, people shop here 7 days a week. Some shops 24 hours a day, but very typically shops are open 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. So if you don't live close to this hypermarket, like for instance where I live, I've got 4 small supermarkets within a 5-minute walk of my house. So I don't have to come to this sort of store if I don't need to. So as we move on from the non-food items, we come over to the food items now, and after the bakery comes all the candy and lollies, cakes, sweets, treats. There's a whole fridge there of ready-made cakes. And then over here, there's some nice desserts that are, basically they cut them off by the slice. These are very, very nice here. Check these out. And I imagine they do them in the store here. There's a lady that kind of just brought a tray out before. Just jump around these guys here. I'm not too sure what these are called, but they're some sort of like a bread or a pastry. It looks almost like there's egg or cheese inside. Anybody that's one of my Russian viewers can let me know what these are called. I haven't seen them in shops before now, so very interesting. And here's some ready-made food here, some salads, sandwiches. Kind of, I mentioned it in a few videos, grab and go. That's probably a good example of what you would call them in Australia anyway, grab and go foods. And here's all the potato salads, coleslaws, different types. These you sort of get weighed out into tubs. Typically, they're by 100-gram amounts. Just kind of jump around. Yeah, there's some, you see this kind of carrot salad, cabbage salads, the beetroot salad. This is one of my favorites right here. Very nice, this one. It's basically just beetroot, mayonnaise, a little bit of salt and peppers in there, and you're good. And here's all the ready-made foods. So these are all pre-made. They're all cooked in the store in a lot of cases. And then simply just take them home, heat them up, and dinner is ready. And that chicken wings, chicken legs, very nice. And then some vegetables here, potatoes. Yeah, so you don't really have to worry about cooking. The prices are very reasonable too. They're not expensive to what you would think they would be. So being a hypermarket, there's obviously a lot of aisles to show in this store. It's really very, very big. I don't think I'm going to be able to cover anywhere near all of the store in one video, but the whole point of this is a hypermarket tour. So have a look at all the wines here. All the red wines pretty much in one aisle here. Lots of them. This is kind of interesting with the wines. If you buy individually, obviously you've got one price. And if you buy 6, 12 or 18 bottles, you get discount. Do anybody go shopping for 18 bottles of wine at their local supermarket where they live? I don't think I've filmed one supermarket video and missed the aquarium. Here we'll see all the fish happily swimming in the water here. Again, they've got a nice seafood section. They've got a fishmonger back there who prepares the fish for you. So you can get it basically fresh, or they'll fillet it for you, or take it home and do it yourself. It's however you want it, basically. There's a lot of choices. So the one thing that's very different with this store is that their fruit and veg section is not when you first walk in. If anyone noticed, when we walked in at the very beginning, it was all like children's stuff, it was all promotional stuff, and you weren't sort of walking right into the fruit and veg section, which is very traditional anywhere in the world, I think. But Lenta have done it sort of differently, where they've sort of set it up in the middle. Instead, lots of the usual fruit and vegetables that we're used to in all the supermarkets here. 11 types of tomato, because 3 aren't enough. And then 7 types of cucumber as well. Any type, shape and color. But just walking around this fruit and veg section, I mean, you can get any fruit and vegetable you possibly like. It doesn't matter in season or out of season, you can get things. Obviously there's a higher price. So as a lot of Russians do, and myself included, I tend to shop for seasonal fruit and vegetables. So where we just sort of finished grapes, we're moving into mandarins now. And then, you know, there's going to be different vegetables as well that'll increase and decrease in price over the seasons. You can obviously see when you look around, you can see and feel the hypermarket kind of design of the store. You know, it's not that clean looking Globus look that I have where I live when I go shopping, because it's convenient for me. It's you know, a little bit more industrial looking. We come into what is probably the biggest deli section I've seen in any supermarket, even other hypermarkets. Have a look at the size of this. There's aisles and aisles and aisles of the deli, sort of things like hams, meats, milks, yogurts. You can see here the different meats. Plenty of choices. There's not a shortage in Russia when it comes to wanting meats. You know, certain things may not always be available, like I'm a bit of a lamb eater. I can get lamb, but it's not in every food market. Look at those big turkey drumsticks back there. Yes. Lots of pork here as well. And then essentially this end aisle here is the start of the deli section or the dairy section, and it goes the whole length of the store right to the very end. And then there's just rows of fridges of dairy items. There is a couple of fridges of frozen goods here, and I have pointed that out in a few other videos, that it isn't very, very traditional that in Russia you buy frozen foods. You might get some frozen fish, maybe frozen pilmeni, you can see here, the one that's pay by weight, or the packaged ones. And then there's some of the pancakes here, but that's it for frozen items. And if my wife was here, she'd be in heaven, because Lenta doesn't have nearly this many things. Have a look at how many yogurts you can choose from. It just keeps going. And then there's the drinkable yogurts right down the end. But the Lenta where I live is, oh, it's maybe not even 1/10 of this size. So this is kind of like the dream Lenta to come shopping in. Have a look at all of the deli meats here, and salamis, cabanossis. Have a look at all those. Actually, this is a great example of people. There's one person with a trolley, and then I can see 5 people with baskets. So it's a good example of the amount of people that use baskets versus trolleys. It's a very tiny percentage of all the shoppers as we look at all the cheese here. Yeah, it's just almost overwhelming if you're not used to this kind of store coming in the first time. I've been to 1 or 2 different Lenta hypermarkets, not one that's in a shopping center like this. It's just interesting, it's a different dynamic. A lot of people will pass through here, they'll go to and from work through this store. Whereas the standalone Lentas, where you very, very typically would drive to it, and it won't be near any kind of public transport. All the milk, full stock of milk. Yeah, even more hams over here. They've got the section here where they package it up and slice it. So they'll kind of get the bulk hams and salamis and then repackage them to more kind of smaller pay-by-weight sizes. Now, I do hope you're enjoying this walk around here in Lenta. Now, I've done a lot of walk-arounds in Globus in the supermarket where I live. So this is a good comparison if you've watched both videos that I've done in Globus. You can compare it quite easily. And this is also a Russian hypermarket as well. Globus is German. And then if you've seen Auchan videos, that's French. Lots and lots of choices of eggs. And I pointed this out before that in Russia, the eggs come in packs of 10. Now, again, if anyone wants to comment why they're in packs of 10 and not 12, all I know before moving to Russia, things come in 12s, 24s, 36s, but in Russia, 10. Now, one of the theories that someone mentioned to me was that the egg container in the door of your fridge has 10 spaces. I like it here as I'm walking around. I'm coming back to this middle aisle of the store here, and how they kind of just put a pallet of champagne here, pallet of vodka on another stack. It's kind of like suggestive shopping as you walk around. Oh, now some baskets. Well, they're all empty. There is some around, but not as many. But being a hypermarket, of course, they're going to have these bulk displays. See Barilla pasta here. There's some flour. It's not too bad a price, 90 rubles. And then more champagnes. A lot of these are sparkling wines, not necessarily champagnes. And there's even an Asian section, which is kind of interesting. So if you're into sushi or maybe Thai food, Vietnamese food, they have a section here, all these sauces and sweet chili sauce, all these different soy sauces. It's kind of interesting. It's almost like an international section, if you want to call it that. It's almost, but there's not that much stuff really. And I was hoping for a big Heinz display, but kind of disappointing in here. There's a few, but not as many as I've seen in other stores. There's a lot of other brands of ketchup too. They do tend to have a lot more flavored ketchups, especially so you can do them with shashliks and barbecues. So if anyone's wondering how big it is, it goes down to checkout 33. Now, not all of them are open, obviously being kind of late on a Tuesday evening. It's not as busy as maybe on a Saturday and Sunday. Of course, most people will be out of work by now if you're working kind of traditional business hours. But it's there's people around in here. All the canned tunas and fish are all refrigerated at this store. I haven't seen that in any other shops. I wonder why they're doing that in here. And then we'll see the very small, limited canned food section, which is pretty much only ever corn and peas. And that's it. And then some of the pickles, all these jarred pickles all the way down. Does anybody remember the great sugar shortage of March and April? It seems to have been solved already in Russia. You can get these big bulk bags here. These are monsters, 5 kilos of sugar. I don't know how many cups of tea you're going to be making, but the one we tend to get is this one up the top here in this with cubes. You know, like the ones you give to the horse? You give them the sugar cubes. Do people do that really still? I don't know. Here's the baking section right opposite the sugar. And then you can see all the different sachets if you're going to do cooking. All the salts and herbs, spices. My wife has a big container of these at home. It's like she buys a new one every time. We seem to have a never-ending supply of them. Someone has mentioned in one of the videos about show us the cooking oils and vegetable oils. So here's all the different olive oils. And then around ahead of me now is all the sunflower oils. I don't really know. I'm not into cooking as much as my wife is to know the differences. I tend to sort of just grab one and I use that for everything. Now, there's plenty of choices of them. There's no empty spots really if you look down the whole aisle. Now I keep walking up and down the last few aisles hoping to find all the sodas and cool drinks, but they have an entire aisle of water right here. And then there's some sodas on the end of the aisles here. And then it goes then on to instant noodles. Then here's all the juices. So any kind of orange juices in Every different flavor you can imagine. All right, here we go. This is kind of the aisle that I wanted to have a look at, just to see what choices they have more than anything. So they got Funky Monkey Orange, they've got Fancy, and then, oh, Tony Limoni. Who's this guy? Is that my dad's name? And then they've Fantola Citrus. So the Eves is the one that's the Pepsi, which is Miranda. And this is the Dobra Orange, which would be Fanta. So you've got all the classics here. Oh, and have a look, they've got some Coca-Cola on the shelf. But this is the Coca-Cola from Kazakhstan. Can you see with the gold label right here and the gold cap? That's your sign that it's not Russian produced. They've got all the Dobra Colas here, Cool Cola. And then as we head down, then it goes into all of the Russian brands. So Chernogolovka is pretty much the one that I drink. The Baikal one here, and then the Mandarin, both of these. These are in the glass bottles too. Does anybody still get glass bottle drinks around the world? Well, let me know. So I was mentioned by somebody in one of the comments too about Lay's chips. Now, Lay's I know famously from America, but I was told that this is actually owned by Pepsi. So I wonder what the situation is with this brand in Russia. There's definitely a lot of choices of Lay's. There's more than I've kind of seen if I ever go to a Walmart in Galveston, Texas, or if I go to one in Florida when I'm working on the cruise ships. So there's a lot of aisles to cover in this store. It does just keep going and going. We'll see here all the beer section right here in front of us. And then it kind of goes over to all the homeware items. I was going to say house section. But toilet rolls, one aisle, and a lot of choices. Cleaning section, as my wife always says, her favorite section in the supermarket. Russian ladies love to clean, and mums, grandmas, it's like a kind of a second hobby for them. And I'm going to mention this again, that the Lenta where I live, in a Prelivka, you guys need to sort this out. If there's anybody from Lenta possibly watching this, I want my Lenta to be as full as this and as many choices. Every time I go in there, there's items missing, they're not on the shelf, there's no signage. Here, everything has a price sign. Everything has got something there in its spot. The one in a Prelivka, I feel ashamed that I've got one near me that's like that. They've got some tequila right at the front here, Milagro. We were selling this on the cruise ships when I was working on them. And then Fireball. Now, if anyone wants to know the story of Fireball, let me know. I'll make it in another video for you, because it's an interesting story, this. Why it's called Fireball, when it's really Canadian-made cinnamon whiskey. Simple as that. You see all the different alcohols here. Whiskies, brandies, cognacs, a lot, really. It's there's almost too many choices. I do promise we're nearly at the end of the video. I'm sure you've looked at the timer to see what part I'm on. This is the kind of beauty section, as we call this in the supermarkets in Australia. All of the personal care items. Lots of choices. Hand lotions down here, soaps. And then is there eventually a men's section somewhere? We miss out all the time. It's all about the ladies. I think we should have a men's section in these sort of supermarkets. I still kind of, every time I'm seeing all these different stacks of alcohol here, as you walk through the aisle, I mean, okay, these are all the promotional things, but just there's a lot of stock of alcohol that's not in the alcohol section. William Lawson here. Again, the most popular whiskey in Russia, William Lawson's. That guy needs to get a medal for increasing the sales so much in Russia. Now, is it a Russian supermarket, Russian hypermarket tour if I don't show Russian food here? Have a look at the caviars, yes. Red caviars, is black caviars. These are pretty much the only things I've seen in the store in anti-theft containers, but considering the prices here, looking at around about $70, $100 or so. And then you've got just some classic ones here in cans. They've actually got the anti-theft little wires on them as well. It's interesting, just almost the entire store doesn't have anything on them, and then here we are at the caviar section and they're tagged on everything. Okay everybody, we've come to the end of the video and the walk around of Lenta Hypermarket. It's actually quite a bit further down the way now. I got myself some Dobra Cola. I was thirsty from talking for, I think, like an hour and a half. I think I talked for the video a bit shorter. So thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for being a subscriber to the channel. I hope you like these kind of videos. A Russian hypermarket. Yes, not German, not French, Russian. So yeah, thank you everybody. Thumbs up if you like it. I can't do the thumbs up today. If you want to post a comment, please do that as well. Let me know what you think, some opinions, and I'm off on another adventure. Gonna have a drink of Dobra Cola first. Bye everybody.